Yeah, so I'm Eduard Enoiu. I'm an associate professor at Mäladalen University, and together with my colleagues, Kejsi Biçoku, Cristina Seceleanu, and Michael Felderer, we worked on a taxonomy of vulnerabilities, attacks, and security solutions in industrial PLCs. I just want to mention, if I sound a bit like Darth Vader today, it's not a new career choice, it's just a cold. But I still apologize for my new voice. It's not the best one today. Hopefully I will not lose it until the end. Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about today was about this taxonomy, and it relates directly to industrial control systems. So these are the heart of, these systems are the heart of essential industries, from manufacture to power plants. So our, let's say, unique contribution is a taxonomy and a mapping study centered on the security of industrial programmable logic controller software, PLCs. So we try to through this to show different vulnerabilities, potential attacks, and protective solutions. So our ultimate goal was to offer a comprehensive taxonomy that categorizes this in certain critical areas. The idea is to integrate elements throughout the entire DevOps process, from design to operations. So these security aspects. Yeah. So yeah, just quickly to say something about the industrial control systems. There is a vast network of control system devices, controllers, all working in harmony to automate processes. So these processes span domains from the cars that we drive to electricity that lights up our homes, and even the water we drink. So there are two kind of, there are a couple of systems working here, SCADA systems like supervisory control and data acquisition. Then you have also distributed control systems. And if you look at the figure, like the figure on the slide, you'll find some key components of an industrial control system, like the human-machine interface. This you can think of this as the dashboard, where you can tweak settings and view vital information. You have the control loop. So this is of course, the heart of the action. So it comprises sensors, actuators, controllers, like programmable logic controllers, and the actual process being controlled. So in essence, an industrial control system, or ICS, I will call it from now on, is like, it tries to ensure that industries run smoothly and efficiently. Now, the problem is that, of course, we need to enhance security in industrial PLC systems. These are there have been the industrial control systems have a lot of vulnerabilities and potential attacks. However, a comprehensive overview has been missing until now. So our study actually zooms in on the vulnerabilities of PLCs. Why is this significant? Well, PLCs have become increasingly integrated with external networks, and alarmingly, their communication protocols often lack robust defensive mechanism. So this leaves them open to unauthorized access, posing risks that can, escalate to catastrophic consequences, including potential loss of life. This relates also to, of course, DevOps, because we strive to seamlessly connect the design and operational phases of developing of PLC systems. So in a world where the operation of PLC system is not just desired but essential, there needs to be work that offers valuable insights and tools for ensuring security. So there is some related work. The landscape of PLC security research is not something new. There are a couple of studies. I show here just a couple of examples, like the work of Pan and his colleagues, that offered a comprehensive overview of the industrial control systems, and they went deep into the PLC security facets like code, firmware, network security, So their insights are quite valuable. And there are other studies like Sandarvan that stress that the need to delve into these vulnerabilities and their critical components. And there are some approaches that uncover deep root vulnerabilities in this case. I just wanted to mention also the work of Wu. They pointed to the change in attacker strategies, now targeting ICS more than individual users. So their classification of security measures, touches upon a varied aspects from firmware security to code verification, which I think is quite important also. Yeah, and maybe another study that I want to mention here is by Valentine. They looked at the PLC applications themselves, so they proposed a taxonomy for code level vulnerabilities. But I don't want to mention too much. I don't think I have too much time. In essence, we have this. There are many studies that focus on niche aspects. But an overarching need is clear. You need comprehensive security measures and well-structured taxonomies to understand what's happening in this domain. So, yes, we have this problem. There are many studies, but no comprehensive overview. There is a need for classifying vulnerabilities in industrial PLC systems. So our focus was to, dive deep into the classification of security vulnerabilities. So we present this taxonomy that encapsulates vulnerabilities, attacks, and solutions tailored to these PLCs, programmable logic controllers using industrial control systems. So what was our method? In order to develop a taxonomy, we needed to conceptualize different aspects. But what is a taxonomy? So it's a classification system that defines, entities based on characteristic features. So this is it's a very well-known way of providing a systematic overview of a domain, in this case, a research domain, and it can aid into identify and classify security vulnerabilities, solutions, and threats. So we developed a protocol. We wanted to focus on a taxonomy protocol. We focus on PLC software and hardware security. We try to establish relationship between vulnerabilities, attacks, and solutions. And we started having we developed a mapping study. So this supports the taxonomy development. So we looked into existing studies that organize data on vulnerabilities, attacks, and solutions. I will not spend too much time on this, but we focused on different libraries. We use different keywords. We try to ensure that we have a good selection of studies. We included different papers identifying PLC security vulnerabilities and security solutions. And we try to classify this. We try to extract data and analyze it and come up with our results. So so we had an initial search result. We found 122 papers in IEEE Explorer and in Scopus 432. That gives us an initial total of 554 papers. We exclude some of them. 84 were duplicates, and as we remove them, we review them by some titles, abstract, and keywords. We narrowed down by excluding, I think, 400 papers out of this, if I remember. So the majority of these exclusions were either because they were irrelevant or addressed non-specific security concerns. And then we did also a full text review, of course, and we removed another 34 papers. So in the end, we have some results regarding this. During our research, we focused on. I think someone is. Maybe I cannot hear myself now. I don't know. Maybe we can mute someone. Okay, now it's better. Perfect. So the taxonomy results. So we focus on different aspects. First, we looked at vulnerabilities in PLC systems. So we discovered 10 primary vulnerabilities that were identified in PLC systems, like authentication. This was major concern involving hard-coded password, the absence of some type of authentication, and encryption and network protocols vulnerabilities. We looked into specific lack of encryption or the lack of security that enables attackers to intercept and misuse the data. We found also a lot of problems regarding anomaly detection, inability to detect PLC anomalies in real time that can lead to severe consequences. We also found 4 studies on operating system vulnerabilities, but also some of them about buffer overflows and input validation, like, for example, memory corruption and input validation that are of concern. And maybe not too many studies have focused on hardware and firmware information, human issues, and access control. And we discovered also different types and frequencies of attacks on industrial PLC software, like denial of service, Stuxnet worm, man in the middle, replay attack, false data injection, brute force and dictionary attacks, authentication bypass. So these are the most prevalent types of attacks studied. And the vulnerabilities in authentication, encryption, and networks within PLC software play a significant role, of course, in enabling these attacks. Regarding solutions, we showcase an array of proposed measures to address vulnerabilities and threats in industrial PLC system based on these studies. We have studies that looked at different detection mechanism, intrusion detection, anomaly detection, data tampering detection, attack model detection, and encryption, and maybe there are other solutions here that are not as prevalent, but we discovered them also. So there are multiple techniques that are being researched to fortify security in PLC software. And as we delved into this complexity of security in industrial PLC system, the study actually allowed us to curate a structured taxonomy. So we refer to what you see in the slides as a multidimensional taxonomy representing vulnerability, attacks, and solutions pertaining to PLCs. So you have, if you look at the breakdown, you have vulnerabilities. Of course, these are the weaknesses of the PLC system, and we categorize them into 10 distinct segments. Then we have attacks. So we have identified 20 unique categories of attacks, and then we pinpointed 13 solution mechanisms. So in summary, this taxonomy provides with you could see it as a holistic framework bridging the gap between, what has been studied regarding vulnerabilities, the resulting attacks, and their solutions. So this is our in a way, a roadmap. So it's not the final product, let's say like this. So if you, maybe this is for, I wanted to visualize here the interconnected relationship between vulnerabilities in PLCs, the subsequent attacks, and their counter solutions. So at the core of these relationships are the attacks, which form the bridge between a vulnerability and its solution. So we have a couple of examples here, but I will not go into too many details. So you can visualize how many, instances of papers we have discovered. But maybe this one is much better for understanding. So this table maps each vulnerability to its potential attacks and the solution. So maybe an observation here is that a large chunk of attacks are associated with PLC network security, underscoring a pressing need for more enhanced research in this domain. But the idea with this taxonomy is not only to classify vulnerabilities, attacks, and solutions within the industrial PLC software landscape, but the idea is to serve as a model for other researchers and practitioners to look at this as a methodical way to spot maybe security patterns in PLCs. So to our industry colleagues, this could be, they can consider this taxonomy to guide them to target, certain PLC vulnerabilities, dissect in a way some tried and tested solutions, and use them for bolster their security. So this is maybe a handy checklist, if you will, ensuring that the system could stand resilient against some identified threats. Yeah, so maybe with this I can actually conclude. So to get we try to get an overview of the existing research on security vulnerabilities, attacks, and security solutions in industrial PLC software. We performed this mapping study. We developed a taxonomy for PLC-based security vulnerabilities, attacks, and solution. The main goal here was to bring to the forefront the main vulnerabilities that actors could exploit to gain access and attack the PLC systems, and to give an overview. And the study hopefully can benefit academics and researchers who work with PLCs and focus on security. This can help with an initial categorization of the most common vulnerabilities, attacks, and solutions. And this can be used for engineers with security in different domains. So using specific solutions and monitors identified using our taxonomy, one can use this prior to deployment in the design phase as predictors or oracles. For example, one can use specific detection mechanism to perform test assessment and verification during development, and to ensure security during the operational phase. So this happens in DevOps when missing and vague security requirements identified by the monitors are added to the security requirements. So the main advantage of having us, this approach using our taxonomies that can be used to, further, have a tighter integration between design verification activities on executable PLC system and maybe runtime monitoring of such industrial systems.